New LLC $50,000 business credit card at 0% interest and business line of credit without documents, no bank statements, tax returns, profit and loss, balance sheets, debt schedule, pay stubs, and things like that for small businesses, the self-employed entrepreneurs. If you are in e-commerce, healthcare, technology, manufacturing, construction, in the food service space, retail of any kind, and many others. And then plus 0% interest credit card stacking up to $250,000 and above effectively for many different businesses for different uses. Even if you are a real estate investor looking to purchase property, you need a down payment, you need to pay off other property, how you move money, how you get enough cash flow, appreciation and depreciation, and many other things. So I'll be going into a little bit of this, but more importantly, I'm going to walk you through a process on one of my other tabs on how you can get started with multiple business and even personal credit cards at 0% interest for 6 to 18 plus months. It's ideal on the business side, but each person is different. Your credit profile, the age of it, the history, the reoccurring ongoing payments, what you have open and closed, the amount of accounts, and all of these things to look at, especially through a soft credit pull and throughout the process and doing this accurately so you're not making mistakes. If you want convenience for energy and time, and so you don't make those mistakes pulling from the wrong credit bureau, you think this one's going to give me this card at this amount, but you don't have the leveraged relationships like I do with myself and or the team, and you're trying to do this all alone and you're going to the wrong source. You've racked up too many inquiries, over 2 to 3 for a specific larger tier bank we could have gone to, but you ran this inquiry to just try to get a home mortgage or something else that's as important. I get that, and other things, but too much recent activity is also another reason why people get declined, and you're looking everywhere. So being very careful and diligent about it. I won't go too deep into the new LLC $50,000 type of institution and that. I created a video on that. I'll link it to you down below where I go into two of these and more or less what the requirements are to a lot of them. But places like a Key Bank and a Truist are helpful, especially the Key Bank, where you can go in there, but you want to have an LLC for a business line of credit, a business checking, a business savings. You want to have that normally a 720 and above credit score, no more than 3 hard inquiries in the last 6 months, no more than 3 unsecured open accounts in the last 6 months, more or less. And there's a few other refined details. And then other places like a Truist, and then places that are asking for lower utilization, less than 30%, and making sure you have a few things open to get the most amount. And I always recommend having a personal credit card or multiple of at least a $10,000 limit. 5,000 is helpful for 10,000 though. That can really accelerate the amount of business credit with comparable credit, and seeing how much age history in those revolving accounts have. And there's a bit more that we do on our end. So there's a little bit of that. So I'm going to move over to the screen here. But again, that video where I go into more of like the Key Bank, the Truist, and a few of those, and go over some of the details and highlight the importance of credit card stacking. But with this, they're up to 50K. Anything over 50K in a line of credit, you will have to ask, or you will have to supply your tax return or tax returns, perhaps a P&L, balance sheet, and a few things. But anything up to 50K, a lot of the times you won't have to. And with some of those, or normally they will pull from Equifax, it can be regional, location targeted, but for the most part, it is Equifax. And I have that other video again. I'll link it to you down below. So there are places like that. You also have a Chase, as you see here on the screen. I'm not going to go through all of it to its entirety. I've already covered content on this. I'll try to link it to you down below. But you see here different cards, different rewards, bonus points, the Southwest Rapid Rewards Performance Business Credit Card that you can work your way up to over time. And some of these there, as I scroll down here, I'm going to go through all of them, but you see that at a glance that I've been able to take myself starting from the personal, then moved into the business side some time ago. And I have multiple different business cards from different institutions, and making sure you add all of them and have as much funding as you need for what you need to use for inventory, marketing and advertising, for mitigating other costs, for balance transfers. But you see here with like a Chase, they're the top tier bank. They're my primary banking relationship, and I have others. But here you see the APR on their Inc. Business Cash Credit Card is a great one to get into. 0% intro APR for 12 months, account opening on purchases. After that, it's 18.49% to 24.49% of variable APR. So you can see the rates go up there. They're somewhat high at times, depending on how you use the money. I always tell people, make sure you're using this to make more money. If you're not, you're just going to rack up a lot of expenses. And this is where a lot of people then end up seeking out loans or advances, things that are not already favorable. They already have a high payment over here. They didn't get what they wanted in the interest, and you're paying down debt, and you're just trying to recirculate that. And if you continue to have the same pattern and you don't go away from that, it becomes problematic. So expanding into new services is going to help you as long as you use the money correctly. And things can go up from 1 to 2% plus, and now you're paying more and what you're using the money for. So things change that way. But over here, let me go into this questionnaire form. This may look familiar to you if you've followed me for some time and you filled it out, or just have followed me but haven't yet, or didn't even know it was there. I make it a case to make sure you know this in most of my videos at different times or in different parts of my content out there and different channels. But this is down below. And if you filled this out and I haven't responded back to you, I will get back to you in time. I can get quite flooded, but that's not to say that I won't get back to you. It's just when you work with an expert, that's what happens. And you want the very, very best from a business loan broker expert, funding expert, pre-underwriter/underwriter, myself. And you're going to get the utmost respect, transparency, loyalty that others wouldn't really share with you. They're just going to look at you as money, and they're going to try to get their origination fee and their broker costs, and they're all doing it for the cost of the money, and they're all doing it for getting their earning. That's not what I'm in this for. I love helping people on a level that's more than just the business side, but who they are as a person and their health and their relationships. So that goes a long ways with me. And I care about how you have that and how you can then improve that, if so. And what are you doing? What do you have going on? Because it matters. And you're not a number to me. Others will say just a number. You're not a number to me at all. And I'm very punctual and disciplined, very cerebral. I'm an introvert, very analytical type of person. So I look at a lot of documents every day, and I have very good processes, the structure, the systems, when the automation makes sense, not all 100%. But I've done this for many years, and I funded my businesses, so I know exactly the trials and tribulations, and I've educated myself. Come from a schooling, educational background, studied a bit of sociology, moved into then chemical engineering side, and then I wanted to pivot to start a business, so I had to make a big change, and I got into the business side. And I know how all of this goes, and not having enough to keep your business up afloat, and you're just trying to scale it or grow and get enough revenue. But the market just keeps pushing you down, or it's other conditions out of your control, or they are in your control, but it's just a business management, operational, and all of these things. And I worked in a financial logistics position at one point. Company went down under. I had to go back on unemployment benefits. This was in my younger 20s. And at that time, I was preparing to start a business. And just even the little things like going to purchase with an EBT card was hard for me to do, introverted me. And even just going out for a payment, it was hard to even for a meal, family. And I didn't want to continue to feel that way. So at that time, I started a digital marketing agency, lead generation business, health affiliate, marketing one, did a hybrid of e-commerce, went back to the blog side there, did other verticals in the affiliate space, other ventures. And this has been my primary focus for a while now. So that's a little bit I might cover more towards the end of it. So here you see non-startup and startup business. So you can scroll through this to see how it would look. It may change over time, but there are some of the results that I've helped people generate in terms of them getting funding. And there are more. I just put a handful how it works. So this could be the same layout or different when you look at it. I sometimes change, improve, or move things for the market and things like that. But here you see, please select from the two buttons, or you could say one of the two buttons, to fill out the right funding questionnaire. Plus, you'll get a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist to show you what you need to know before you walk into an application with 110% confidence and certainty. Absolutely, you know that the chances of an approval are this, or walking into this, you know that you might just even get an offer. And then also knowing like where you're going is important. A lot of people overpromise and underdeliver and hype this up. And again, what I tell people what comes down to is the character. I care about the character in a person, loyalty, aspirations, value, vision. And I want to make sure you're somebody like that, not having to worry about that with a lot of this, excuse me. And the friction and the resistance, I normally really don't have that with anybody at all. But just when people bring that ego or that ignorance or this belief about something that needs to be changed first, we leave that out the door at the very least, or we change things. So we go through the process fluidly, and we're not affecting anybody, myself and or my team, and even yourself in this part of the process. So here, I'm going to click non-startup since that applies to me, but you can click startup. So get the funding your business needs fast. Complete the questionnaire form below to get a personalized and customized email response for your best funding option and options from a real business loan broker and funding expert, as well as pre-underwriter/underwriter. Please be serious and responsive. Please do not be that person wasting my energy and time and being hard to get a response/feedback from. I spend a good amount of my energy and time on these. Plus, get a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist to get you approved for funding faster without making mistakes. So I know how to pre-underwrite, pre-screen. And when many people come to me and go, how do I get in contact with you? Just call me. Here's a number. Call me here. Mm-mm. The reason why is just imagine how much I would be spending if I gave people all of that. Just imagine that from the very beginning. A lot of people out there are just seeking information. They're not loyal to the person. And I don't have an expected financial ROI outcome after we do. But the thing is, I can only do it to an extent because so many people would be requesting that and they would never move forward, never do anything themselves, or would go somewhere else and they were disloyal and they were just like shopping and not doing things correctly, not looking at it from, yes, I can help you get the best offer. Usually I beat the majority of offers that are out there, but the person, you have to look at the person who you're getting help from. Who are they? Did you ever for a second ask that? Did you ever for a second think that? And then consider that. And have you considered how I have to put food on my family's table, but also that I give back to the community and I do things like that? And that I really do care about your well-being and what this is able to streamline and push and help others out in the process, helping out a smaller business and a larger corporation and things like that. And people who have been through it like yourself, and as a person characteristically, like I've worked on myself for a long time. And I'm more quiet of a person, slower talker. Although you see a little quicker here, but trying to get through the material. So here you're going to see this here, and then this is without making mistakes. So the 6-step pre-approval lending checklist that I'm updating from time to time. I actually just updated it not too long ago. And then your name, your best email, phone number, mobile preferred, because I'll follow up. I usually will do this. I'll give you a highly personalized and customized email response with a PDF usually included, breaking down your best funding option and options, whether you can or can't qualify. You will not have a doubt. I'll show you different options underneath credit, cash flow, collateral, liquidity, equity, grants, and other things. Everything you're going to have in one place that you can reuse, bookmark it, come back to, ballpark numbers for your current situation, if this, then that, for different ones, where to look. Here's your first 3 options, but the first one is the best one. I positioned it that way. Here's this based on your details. This is what I would do, is how you submit it. Here's what you would do in terms of looking at the details, how it works, ballpark ranges if there are any. And then also you're looking at it as how do I submit an application? What do I need to send to you? Or do I send it here? So we look at it on the back end. It's preferable to do it that way. Why is it preferable to do it that way? All this stuff will be broken down. Success fees, origination costs, if so, and underwriting places and things like that that'll be shown specifically to certain services. But here it is. And so I'll follow up with a text letting you know that it has arrived, it's in there, but funding amount requested, and I won't bombard you by it. Time in business is a years or months. Please specify 1 year, 1M for month, not just a number, but I can find the business if you put the business name down below. Now, if it's hard to find that information, I'll just spend 5 to 10 minutes. Couldn't even find social media or nothing. Couldn't even go in there and give you likes on your Facebook page like I normally do. Sometimes I can't do it as quickly, or I will because I have a lot of things. But I take the time to look things up and see who you are and what your business is doing. And it's helpful for me to see like what type of business do you run, the operation of it, how does this look, the pricing of it, or this is what you do here, are the products and services are what you fulfill on. And it's very safe and secure stuff. I just look it over and I show you that I care. I really do. I'm not just doing it just to do it. FICO Experian credit score. I'm not a creditor. Don't worry about that. This is not an application. This is a pre-qualification, or more so a questionnaire form, so that I can align you to go through that pre-qualification stage. And so you know that when we go through it, it is the best time to do it, and it's going to be helpful as well. So that'll be helpful. Do you have 670 plus FICO scores on all 3 consumer credit bureaus? That'll be helpful for me to understand where you are there at that level. Would it be helpful to do the credit back? Would it not be able to? There are different providers, different here that are looking for this. If yes to 670 plus, do you have 700 plus on all 3 bureaus? Do you have established business credit? That goes a long way, specifically with loans, bank term loans, lines of credit on banks, with SBA loans and things like that, and others. Yes or no, ownership percentage, and you don't necessarily have to have established business credit to get lower tier services, but it is helpful to have ownership percentage. And then I go into a little bit of the detail. We're going to kind of go through this as quickly. Lowest monthly revenue there, latest monthly revenue, just read through it in the last 3 months. this month's current revenue, average monthly revenue the last 3 months, estimate if need be. Your average daily bank balance does a lot. I look at a lot of bank statements. I look at a lot of returns. I look at a lot of different things to make sure I understand numbers, the cash flow analysis, profitability analysis, and more. Highest monthly sales in the last 6 months, estimate that if need be. Annual gross revenue before that, and then average monthly gross sales in the last 6 months. So those can be somewhat the same, maybe changed a little bit over time as I'm constantly moving things. And for the market, use of funds, don't just select the first one. Please select the one that applies to you. You can scroll. So I'm going to say purchasing equipment. Okay. And then I also have another form for purchasing equipment, but you can do it through this one. Factoring invoices, expansion, which a lot of people do, and many others. Existing business loan / advance, yes or no. If answered yes to the above question, just read that box just so you know what to input. But having remaining balances, the first amount that you received and then what you have currently, even the rates, the terms are very helpful. Provider is helpful. It only helps your cause even more. Business assets on hand, if none, ignore for collateral funding if need be, or asset liquidity, equity backed. We can inject equity out of with a cash out refinance or do a few different scenarios. And I might add more to this because there is, but as it is, it's fine. And it's all there for the most part. So if something else were different, I'll probably change it, but you see just the majority of it. If you did check the box or boxes above, please state the type of assets and the amount. If none, ignore, thanks. Term length expectation, when do you need your funds? ASAP, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 year, 3 months, as soon as possible again. Yesterday, people will say. Business industry and your business name. Those are two helpful categories. So I understand what niche, what category of industry you are in, because that has a lot to do with the market, different underwriting, different ways of looking at your file that we do. Business name, great. Also a way for me to look at what business name you have and the high risk, as well as many other factors, and then looking up your business online and seeing where you're at and how you're established. Can I find you on here? Can I see you over here so I can see your Facebook page, your website, so I can see how exactly that works too? And very curious about those things. And please describe your financial needs here. Example, expand on your use of funds, business operations, ROI, expectations, etc. Be thorough. This is your place here to tell me your problem or problems, your major one. I'm dealing with liquidity issues from a current bank. I only have 30,000 now in inventory. I can't cover the cost of that, and I'm have to fulfill all this. If I don't, I'm going to lose out X amount of clients. Like, that's helpful for me to know. So I'm going to need 60,000 in net, 20,000, whatever it is. Okay, that's kind of high, but you're looking, and it depends on the industry for the amount. So you're looking at those things. So it's helpful, and that's going to help us streamline the process. So do that, and it's going to be confidential between you and us. Sorry if it's dark. I have the HP lighting screen. Sometimes it goes in and out, and then the lighting through here. And then I sometimes have it where it shows dark for some reason. But here you have that place to be able to be thorough. Let me know what your use of funds are exactly for, and these circumstances, your net, what do you expect to gross from this? That'll help me along the way to be able to streamline this and help you with this. About us, there's more information. You see that, how it works, more or less. Could be a video there. Maybe it changes over time. Well, let me show you a quick example of what this may look like. So let's put funding amount. I'm just going to quickly, that's not even my credit. I'm just going to, whatever, selected answers. And let's put, oh no, actually, sorry. Put a random number. But you don't want to do this, of course. Take your time. I'm going to be able to look at this effectively when you do. I'm just gonna, don't do exactly what I'm doing. It's like I just mentioned. No, it doesn't make sense, but I'm just gonna, and be very specific on this part, just so you have that. I don't know, put something like that. And then down here, let's go ahead and submit it. And then this will land in my email inbox. You're all set. We've received your information. And it could look like this. It may change over time, but make sure you read the red heading. It'll give you information. I won't go through all of it now, but how it's being emailed over. It'll arrive here. If it doesn't, it'll probably arrive there. Watch the video in the meantime to see how my processes work so you know how simple and effective this will be for you and I without a hassle.
And then when done, also see the button underneath. And I have a PS here. I'm a multiple business owner, so I kind of understand what you're going through to receive funding for them, and I know how difficult that can be, and you want the best. So make sure to watch it thoroughly. Then you can click here. I know some people just click through, but please take the time. You can even see this while that's running, but make sure you go through that. And then next steps, this could look different of a different layout when you see this, when you're going through it, as I move things around to test a few things, move things around for what's current and not. So you can see this. Next steps, quick start to 0% interest funding. Please click the button below to see if you can qualify for 0% interest business credit cards, credit card stacking for 6 to 18 plus months, and potentially other funding services. And we'll click here. And now it'll open up a new window. Please click the button below to get started with your 0% interest business credit card stacking questions. Get the best 0% interest service out in the market to help you grow and expand your business and give it the boost it needs to either kickstart or continue to climb up with much faster speed and peace of mind at the end of the day that your business is doing well and yourself in your own ways that you're thinking up here, not only when you're in business, but outside of that. Plus, be able to liquidate cash out of cards correctly. Not a lot of people understand that process or how to leverage relationships or where they need to turn to where it's not high cost and for what cards they can liquidate, for what percentage, and all these other things. So start quiz. And I'm not going to go through all these questions here. You can go through it in time, but I'm just going to click through all of them. So here, there's going to be numerous amount of questions, probably 9 to 10 or so, more or less. Things get updated. You'll see it there too. Great work on finishing your quiz. For this one specifically, you do not meet the minimum requirements. So I just kind of went through it quickly. So you'll get a different result. If you meet the requirements, you will get, yes, you met the requirements. And the next steps, when you meet the requirements for the different one, you'll be able to click a button underneath. That'll then take you over to the video or to a page where you can go through. But for this one, next step, since you didn't qualify, you can do this. You may be eligible for other forms of creative credit-backed funding with a personal term/installment loan or so, and perhaps others. So here I kind of navigate you on, make sure you read this part right here when you go to the next page we're about to see. And then it'll look something like this, or maybe it changes over time. Additional resources, your checklist, course, recommended revenue-based route. So in case your credit isn't up in the 700 and above to do credit card stacking on all 3 consumer credit bureaus, you maybe have less to do one card or increase the current limit threshold, or you have the revenue and you're generating, let's say, a minimum of 3,000 plus per month on your lowest month in the last 90 days, then you can look at this route. You can click here, or there may be other options, or that might be moved over in time, but you can go through that. But here, let's start, and it'll show you this updated for 2023. See if you qualify for the personal and business capital businesses love, and click play to watch the video below, and then make sure to scroll down to see the success fee for the expert done for you service and setup and why it is the way that it is. So that might be changed over time. It might be less. You can watch this video, go through here, click here, and I'll show you where to click on this page specifically to go over to the next one. But you'll go through here and you'll read through this. You can listen to the video at the same time while you're going through this as well. See how much you can pre-qualify about us, a little bit more information there, and the success fee to this. You can read through that. I'm not going to go through all of it right now to its entirety, but when you're doing credit card stacking, it's normal that you see a 9.9% success fee. And in a lot of this, you'll see that in other places, they're going to charge you more and also will charge you up front with the course. And then they don't tell you, but they'll probably go do this for you. And now there's an additional amount. So you just spent on 1,997 course, you have payments on $97, $997, whatever it is. And then you still have to get the done for you service. Or if you don't have that done for you service that they do for you, they'll allow you to do it on your own. But do you really want to do that? Yes or no? That's up to be decided if you are an expert at it or if you have experience with it. Even if you don't, you could still. But for convenience, energy, and time and getting the maximum amount, I always recommend a done for you way with myself and or the team to do this. And so here, there are things that we'll go through. If you're eligible or not, you'll see more or less some of the things you answered on the quiz questionnaire part of it. So you can go through this, the alternatives. If that didn't work with the personal term installment loan, you don't meet that. Here's a credit back, or here's the revenue back. There's maybe the collateral or what other situation may be at. You can click through if it's still there and available. And then there will be the buttons as you see there to click through to go get started on inputting your information so that we can then do a soft one, look at it on the back end. And there are other ways to receive this where I can ask for it via email or supply me with this so that we can do it in this check. And then there's another way where we can do it very quickly that I recommend that most people go through, and we can look at that way then on the back end and go from there. And then
I'll come back to you with the response back on what we saw and giving you that underwriting detail, or more so why it did or didn't work and how to progress from there. And so you'll have information on it. So that is all there. And I'm going to leave you with that in mind. And down below in the description will be that questionnaire form you can get started with if you haven't. And if you have, I'll get back to you in time with some of this and even more supplemental information if so. But yes, that's what I want to leave it at. I think I covered everything. I'm looking at a few tabs on my screen. We saw the thank you page, and then just here, a few more things to go through, and you can really get started and put a simple amount of information for a soft pull that won't affect your credit. But we could just understand if you would be applicable or not, see what kind of credit history and payments and things like that, and what we can try to do. And then throughout the process, I'll be there to help you along the way, know what's happening here and there at those points of reference. But all of it is there included. Make sure you go through this and you understand why things are the way that they are, and why it is in your best interest to do it this way. So if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Click that bell notification icon as well so you do not miss any future content. And if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others who you feel will find value from it. And know this, there are many options. We can even combine this credit backed option, one or many of them, with others, revenue backed, collateral backed, to help you pay down business and personal credit card debt, for refinancing, consolidation, other things that we're trying to do to move up different tiers, restructuring specific business debt and other payments, and what you're trying to do there. So that is everything for me. Down below in the description, the questionnaire form will be, and more resources, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Take care.